Fantasy Football Show.
Hello listeners and welcome back to episode 2 of Planet Sky Fantasy Football. My name's Suj.
My name is James.
3 days to go until Sky FF opens just as quickly as FPL opens.
Suj, you've given the game away.
Why?
That we're pre-recording this
we have to. Only by a day. For like 12 hours. And if people notice our attire, we're wearing the same t-shirts.
Yeah, we haven't come to
Listen,
the same clothes.
There's no way we could record every day unless this was our full-time jobs. And it's not, sadly, yet. Yet, one day.
We'll
be Gary Lineker and Jeff Stelling and Matt Letitia. That's what we decided, wasn't it?
No, I'm not having that.
Sky Fantasy Football.
Yeah.
£50,000. We did episode 1 was a kind of brief introduction into the rules and the differences between FPL. We've both been away tinkering. How close to a final team are you?
Very.
Yep.
I
would say I am about 80% of the way there. But I've only spent maybe 3 or 4 hours actually playing around with it. It took me quite a bit of time. And anyone that's thinking about, I'll get a Sky team together, it took me quite a bit of time. I don't know what your approach was, but for me, I didn't really have a benchmark for what good looks like in terms of value and price of a player. And then also how many points is a decent total of points to score. So I took the approach that dividing my 100 million into 11 players is 9 million per player. So 9 million is what I would consider middle of the road. Anything above that, if I pick an 11 or 12 million player, then I've got to pick a 6 or 7. And then I took the approach that 150 points was a decent points total. So I just went through most of the teams to try and get a feel for who was either side of 9 million and scored more than 150 points, chucked them in my team, and then decided to kind of move from there to see if I could afford any more premiums or not, which I could, and then decided to try and pick a captain for every week and realised I didn't have the coverage that I needed and had to go back to the drawing board. But I felt like just using that 9 million, 150 points benchmark to judge who's doing well and who's not was a good starting point. Obviously, you've got new players coming into the game as well, which are the spanners in the works and stuff. But yeah, that's what I did. What about you?
Yeah, I've gone quite powerful, and I've got a couple of very cheap ones in who I'm happy to captain in a couple of crap days. The biggest thing to stress is obviously the overhaul is
4 weeks away.
4 weeks away. That's essentially it's our forced wild card. Mm-hmm. You do not need to look forward beyond the 4 weeks.
Correct.
And from my perspective, there is no excuse really, as far as I can see, and we must stress this is the first time we're playing against, we're not pros.
Yeah.
But the way I see it, there is no excuse to not pick a team right now that covers potentially with somebody, even if it's crap, who can captain you on every day right now.
Yeah.
Because you only need to focus out of really 6 teams, maybe a little bit more, because there's only 3 days where there's only 2 teams playing. So in game week 1, it's obviously the opening day is Liverpool and Norwich in the Friday night. Nobody's putting his team together and not having Liverpool
without
play,
Liverpool
right?
coverage,
So that's
correct.
fine, so you don't need to worry about Norwich. Game week 2, you got Wolves and Manchester United on the Monday night. Mm-hmm. So I would recommend you want some sort of Wolves or Manchester United coverage in there.
Correct.
And in game week 3, you've got Villa against Everton on the Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Game week 2 Sunday is a little bit interesting because the 2 Sunday games are
Sheffield United versus Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
And Leicester Everton or Leicester Villa? I think it's Leicester.
No, it's Chelsea Leicester.
Oh, Chelsea Leicester, that's it.
So Chelsea we're not sure, right? As an overall way, we want to take the gamble. And I'm trying to pick players who I think, I'm cool with that for the first 4 game weeks. Because chances are someone's going to get injured or someone's going to get suspended and I'll have to enforce it. So the less planned transfers I'm making early on feels better to me.
Sure.
So that one's a little bit dodgy. That Sunday, Sheffield United, Palace, Chelsea, Leicester. So I've got 1 Sheffield United player in at the moment because of that.
Same as your FPL team, Robinson?
Who?
Is it Robertson or Robinson? from Sheffield United.
Oh, Callum Robinson.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had fucking Andy Robertson in my head. I thought
Robinson.
I thought
I said Robinson, and you made me double check myself.
I thought you was having a man-child fruit juice moment.
Callum Robinson was quite well priced in this as well.
He's not Callum Robinson, actually. What price is Callum Robinson?
I think he's 6 and a bit. I can't remember exactly, but I was
he's ranked as a forward, isn't he?
Yes.
So
it's
less of an interest.
Yeah.
Because the forwards are power here.
They really are. Salah, Sterling, all of these guys are forwards. Mane is a forward in this game as well.
Yeah, it's Oliver Norwood at the moment. It's the Sheffield United player I've stuck in now.
Okay. Goalkeeper? Who have you got?
At the moment, when I've been doing the drafts, for the majority of it, I've been sitting on Greater, who looks to me like the cheapest obvious goalkeeper, who's definitely going to be number one in my opinion. There's a couple of things have changed my thinking now. One is Palace and
how bad their pre-season's been.
Gary Cahill's obviously been brought in. I don't know if he'd go straight into the team, but it will ease an improvement on like your Kellys and Dans and stuff like that. No question. But looking deep, and it also would have given me coverage for that Sunday because Sheffield United played Palace. I was thinking that. But looking at it further, goalkeepers in this game look like they hold a little bit more value than they would in FPL.
Yep.
So I think like Ederson and Alisson both cleared like well in excess of 200 points in this last year.
Yeah, Alisson was 223
and then
or something like that.
And then it's a good bit of a drop off.
50 odd points.
Yeah. So it feels like it's worth going with one of the premiums. Plus, the difference in the pricing between, say, Alisson and your Trents, VVDs, etc. is quite big.
Really
it's not
big.
like the 0.5 to 1 million like it is in FPL.
Trent down to, Alisson down to Kepa, for example, is 500,000. But that's 50 or 60 points.
Yes.
Whereas Alisson up to Van Dijk's at 10.5 million. That's 2.5 million. And I mean, VVD did well. He scored a shit ton of points, but it's not that big. It wasn't 50 points, put it that way.
So I've gone with Ederson.
Okay. I've gone with Alisson. It's 0.1 in it between them. I've just gone with Alisson.
Yes, fine.
Either or, really.
You'll find out why I've gone for Ederson in a minute when you see how many Liverpool players I've got.
Yeah, really. I don't know why I've restricted myself to 3 because I'm not restricted by 3, but I suppose budget more than anything else. What formation are you playing, just to be clear? 3-4-3?
At the moment, I'm sitting on a 4-4-2 or what I would like to call 3-0-4-2.
3-0-4-2.
Because there's one in there that I've kind of accepted at the moment that he might just not play, but he's
Gilbert?
such good. Yeah.
It's
unbelievable.
We're both sitting on Gilbert at 4.5 million.
His ownership's a joke as well. It's about 1% currently or something.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I checked that out. But basically, he's 4.5. Now, for those not familiar with the game, like, he's nobody close.
No, it's very hard to find anyone less than 6 million that you'd even consider in this game.
You would argue his ownership's 3.1%. It's a mistake. Like a glaring one. Because it is such a drop-off. Most of the crap defenders who you would not consider are like 1 million or 2 more.
Yes, they really are.
This guy is just going to sit there as an enabler. Now, I would have him... I haven't got any other coverage for Villa or Everton. If he starts, I'll just captain him that Friday night. Rather than worrying, I have to get someone in. Fuck it, if they keep a clean sheet. Home to Everton, who have been poor in front of goal pre-season. We don't know how quickly Moise Keane's going to get in that team. He looks quite pricey in this, by the way. I'll just go with that.
Defence, who have you got other than that?
VAR.
Robertson, Van Dijk, and Trent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've gone a lot again,
I've got Van Dijk and Trent at the moment.
I've taken the opinion on it that they've got a better run than City.
Correct.
There's questions about Laporte's fitness at the moment. I don't want enforced changes. Zinchenko's a question for that. Walker's a question for that. Stones is a question for that. These 3, if they're fit, they'll play them 4 Liverpool games. And we look at, say, like Van Dijk was the top scorer in this last year. The attacking potential, Robertson and Trent, on top of the potential clean sheet potential. I've gone into all 3 of them at the moment.
It's expensive.
It is.
But... it's a fair strategy.
I
was sitting on Van Dijk, Trent, and Zinchenko for a little while. I swapped Zinchenko out for Gilbert to just give me more money elsewhere. I'll be interested in what it does to your midfield and an attack, to be honest with you. So you're saying Edison, VAR plus Gilbert at the moment. I'm on Alisson, Van Dijk, Arnold, and Gilbert at the moment.
Varg.
I'm on Vag.
So you got your 3 at the back.
Yes.
So what, you
3-4-3.
You're 3-4-3. Okay.
Correct. Midfield. Hit me with your 4.
So at the moment, I've got essentially only one premium, you would call it. It's Kevin De Bruyne.
Snap.
I've got Jota in.
He's not bad priced.
He's also very OOP for this.
Yeah.
You know, he's ranked as a midfielder. And then I've got 2 which potentially cover me for a couple of possible problems. Oliver Norwood already mentioned. I think he might hit a couple of the passing tiers as well, because if you think back to the FPL pod we did with Tomo, FPL Blade, he's the one who really drops back into that kind of right-sided centre-half area. So he's going to see a lot of the ball. Mm-hmm. He could well be one of those that surprises and starts hitting them passing tiers, I think. And it gives me an unusual captaincy cover at home to Palace, potentially, on the Super Sunday of game week 2. And the other one I put in, at the moment, is Scott McTominay. I think he'll start for United. I think he's a good player, and I think he'll improve. I think he'll have
What price is Scott McTominay?
I think he'll have a big season for United. His price is 6.8 million.
That's pretty cheap for a Sky fantasy
regular
player.
At United. We'll see plenty of the ball in a lot of the games.
Yeah. Don't you feel worried that midfield is
I was impressed with him
weak?
against Spurs in pre-season.
Norwood, McTominay, a little weak in the midfield.
You can't have it all.
No. I'm sitting on Kevin De Bruyne at the moment as my premium, but I've got Ryan Fraser and Gylfi Sigurdsson at 8.7 and 9.9. Gylfi Sigurdsson's less than 10 million, 9.9, and he was the second highest midfield point scorer last season, 189 points or something like that. And Ryan Fraser, less than 9 million. So he's below the average price of the average players, I thought. The only thing I don't like about Ryan Fraser is his fixtures. Game week 3 is City. They've got, and Leicester away, I think, is game week 4 fixtures. It's a bit tricky. But Fraser, I had in my mind potentially to move from Fraser to Jota, who's 4.4 cheaper, to cover my coverage for that United Wolves game, potentially. And I've got Pablo Fornals in at the moment as well.
The other thing that's important to mention, which we didn't mention on the first pod, was when you're transferring players, you don't have to transfer to someone in the same position.
Yeah, no, you don't.
So
right.
I might well, between now and the kickoff, take out one of those 3 Liverpool defensive. I think I would probably take out Robertson, actually.
Copying me, yeah, sure.
And then go like Sigurdsson.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a problem. So, Sigurdsson, Ryan Fraser, still very much in consideration.
They're good value, those guys. Fornals I've got at the moment at 7.3, but I'm not sold on him. I'm going to move around from him potentially, especially because I've got Fornals and Haller at the moment in my team, and our opening fixture is not the best. Who have you got up front? 2 strikers.
Really, really not decided at the moment. But at the moment, it's Salah and Aubameyang.
You've gone big.
Which, if I go that way and I don't make transfers, leaves me with going probably Kevin De Bruyne as captain on the Saturday. Wouldn't leave me a lot of else, actually. I feel like De Bruyne covers up a few of Kane's fixtures, like on the third game week, City play at Bournemouth when Spurs play home to Newcastle. So it might even come down to the fact that it's a choice between those and I move money about a little bit. Or, of course, as we'd spoke previously, I could come off Salah Friday night and go to Kane. Mm-hmm. I might start with Kane, go to Aubameyang on the Sunday. These are the things I need to give a little bit more thought to, and I've not really made my mind up yet. So generally not this. That's probably the biggest question mark, because fitting in all 3 is going to be tough.
Very difficult. I'm sitting on Raheem Sterling, Callum Wilson, who's 9.9 million, again not too far away from our 9 million average, and I've got Haller in the moment, who's coming at 8.2. I still got 0.3 in the bank to tinker with. So I'm happy with the squad overall, apart from Gilbert, who I think is a bit of a ringer. But 3 Liverpool defence: Sigurdsson, Fraser, De Bruyne, Fornals, Wilson, Sterling, Haller, all decent players. When I then tried to find a captain week in, week out, there was 2 days that I was missing coverage.
And what were those?
So it's the week where there's Sheffield United,
Palace, Chelsea, Leicester,
and Wolves, Man United. I don't have coverage
and the Monday night.
Yes.
There's 2 days in a row as well.
Yeah, so I am thinking that after I was thinking after this Saturday to move to Aubameyang for my captain for Sunday, which then gives me coverage the week after. But getting in a United player will cover that Sunday and my Wolves Man United day. And also my other option was maybe go from Fraser to Jota to get me coverage. Or the day that it's Sheffield United, Palace and Chelsea, Leicester, just suck it in and
you could, but it's 2 games. It feels like you should have someone.
Yeah. So there's going to be a little bit of tinkering being done here. The players that are likely to move are Fornals and Haller, but I may just look for transfers that can be made within that game week. And I'm happy to make a couple of transfers between now and
Have you got any money left in the bank of that?
0.3.
Got 0.4. I think a small amount feels right.
Is right, yeah.
Feels right.
I quite enjoyed putting my Sky team together because I felt like in some ways there's less things to think about in terms of your bench and also when your overhaul is fixed. The pricing was a bit more fun to have a much broader range of prices. Perhaps the novelty of not understanding how the point system works and having to figure everything out from scratch. The lack of familiarity meant, shiny new thing to play with. I did enjoy it, and I did enjoy having a team and then having to completely rethink where I'm going with it based on the fixtures. So I would actually say that I'm quite enjoying playing with something new in Sky Fantasy Football at the moment.
Yeah, I really like the planning side of it.
The fact that there's 50 grand up for grabs, and the fact that you can set up 2 teams rather than 1 within the 1 account, I also think are good features within the game. I wouldn't go so far as to say that they've caught up with FPL, but I could really see this.
But it can't because it's a UK-based game only.
For now.
Yeah, that's not really going to change.
I reckon they could open up a free version where there's no cash prize, and that's the issue around opening up globally, right?
Possibly, but they want you on Sky Bet, and they want to have all your contact details, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
it's the same login for Super 6 and all of that kind of stuff, right? As soon as you play Super 6, it tells you the odds of the Super 6 that you've just put on. Like
they know what they're doing.
1,300 to 1 or what have you. So they really do. But in the meantime, we'll just work towards that 50 grand, shall we?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Oh dear.
The other thing, obviously, to say, I don't know if we covered it last night or not, but you can change this right up until kickoff, so you at least know the Liverpool team.
Yeah.
So I mean, I could say now this is probably 85% locked. I haven't studied this in the way I've studied FPL. I've just looked at the starting point of planning. I can easily come off any of them Liverpool defensively, and Sigurdsson.
You got money,
like
yeah. Siggy, I think at 9.9 is a must-have.
But yeah, if suddenly you get there 7:00 Friday night and Alexander-Arnold's not playing, he's out
straight
fine.
away.
It's not a problem.
You can't leave 9.9 million.
No, so there's no excuse for that. So there's not going to be any factual 100% confirming a team like there will be at 6:30 of your FPL teams, I think, because it's unlikely one of those Liverpool guys would miss out. But suddenly, if they do, you're changing everything, aren't you? If they're in your squad.
Yeah.
And you can do that on any match day. So, for example, on the Saturday, at the moment, if I don't go with Kane, I'd have De Bruyne sitting as captain. If suddenly he's not playing, I can change it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I can move the caps in, whatever.
Yeah.
So, it's why a lot of people kind of think in their idea of trying to have the captain in the earliest game, which is kind of the reverse psychology of FPL. It's kind of a myth, isn't it? Don't captain the player in the first game. Yeah, you heard that, Salah captainers.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, it's quite handy to think that way.
Because you'll know the fixtures. Exactly.
We know the teams.
The teams, sorry, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, sorry, the lineups. Really interesting. Guys, if you are watching this, so this is going out on Wednesday, and you're thinking about dabbling in Sky but haven't done it yet, there's 48 hours to go. I recommend you do it sooner rather than later, because it's not the type of thing that an hour before deadline you're going to be able to just knock a team together or copy paste what you've done in FPL. It does require a little bit more thought. Worst case scenario, our teams are going to be open, right? People can just see them and just copy paste.
I'm going to certainly. I mean, someone messaged me the other day when James, everyone can see your team. I'm like, mate, I'm doing a podcast. Everyone's going to fucking know. I'm certainly not hiding at the start.
Yeah.
I mean, if we get in towards the second half of the season, I'm challenging. Yeah, that's going into hide mode, and this might be getting scrapped.
This whole show.
Yeah. 50k, mate.
No,
yeah.
James, there's so
I can't
many
get
things
I
we can
can't
do.
get
We
out
can
of
chuck out some red herrings.
I can't get out of that in my mind. I don't know if it was Dan Coxett or Mark or when they was on Who Got This Is. I said last time, top 100's a good finish. I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. Let's see where we go to. Guys, thanks for listening to episode 2 of Sky Fantasy Football with Planet FPL here. We do hope you join us. James will tweet out the code to our mini league in Sky. If you are playing that game, then do join us in our mini league. I have no idea what it is, to be honest with you. I haven't even joined myself yet. So
8417855. The FPL mini league code is ACHZ34. Reminder on the FPL mini league code, I'm closing that on the 31st of August.
Yeah, it ends
not having
in
latecomers this year.
Yes.
I'm not decided what I'm doing with this one.
Well,
I don't think
let's see how many people are in there, to be honest. How many are in there at the moment?
125.
Yeah, we'll end up at 200-300 by the time it starts.
7 times that in the FPL one, I think.
Wow. There we go.
That's nothing on some of them.
No, true. I think Brandon and Josh were talking about getting to 10,000 in their league. So. Nutters. So there we go. Guys, thanks for listening to Sky Fantasy Football. Do stay tuned. Tweet us if you've got any questions. We're not the most experienced in Sky FF just yet, but we'll try and help where we can. Other than that, tune in for Clash of the Correspondents tomorrow, where we've got Chris and Johnny, Manchester City and West Ham United. I was thinking United from West Ham.
He ain't fucking coming on now, is he?
Yeah, he will. City West Ham Correspondents talking about that game and what they expect from their teams. Other than that, ciao for now.
Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.